Hi everyone, I'm just making another video about another tape drive system. So this is just a plain one that just doesn't have auto reverse or anything like that. This, in my opinion, is probably one you want to definitely avoid because it's got a bunch of serious design flaws. But as you can see, obviously it's got play, rewind, fast forward, stop, and just pause. So the auto stop mechanism in this tape drive system is very flawed in my opinion. So what it relies on is when the tape hits the end, the idea is the tension being pulled by this through I think this is the whatever wheel this is that empties. The idea is that the tape gets tight and will lift this up, this arm mechanism up here, and I'll just stop it for a second. So if this, oh, I guess I have to. Okay then. So once that happens, this lifts up and that pushes that metal thing like that to stop it. So this gets pushed up, which then in turn pushes this down to trigger the auto stop. This is literally the auto stop trigger right here. And I believe it works even in the other modes too. Yeah, it just triggers the stop every time. Obviously this one I got out of just a common tape player. You can see that the erase head here is actually just a magnet, which most good systems will actually have an erase head that's got the wires going in through the top. But I'll show you why that the stop mechanism in this is flawed. Because if for any reason, if it's playing and for any reason this wheel stops turning, if you rewind a tape or fast forward it often, it doesn't wind evenly and this take-up wheel may become tight. The problem with that is if you stop turning this, like this, oh, you can see the gear underneath turning, but the actual wheel itself that turns the spools does not turn. The problem is if you look at the pinch roller and capstan, that'll still be pulling tape through. But with this wheel not turning, it's eventually the tape will get pulled through, and it'll actually start to wind around this pinch roller and literally chew up the tape. So, just as an example, I'll show you the system working properly. So if it hits the end of the tape, it'll lift that bar up, and it'll trigger the stop. See? It'll trigger. Lift that piece up. It gets tight, and it causes it to shut off. So that's when the system is working the way it should. But here's an example where there's an actual flaw. As I said, if this wheel stops for any reason, the system will stay on and the capstan or the pinch roller will keep pulling more tape in, even though there's nowhere for it to go. And if you look carefully, I'm going to simulate that and watch what happens to the tape. I've stopped it and see how it's starting to wind around. It's literally chewing up the tape. I just let it go back, and I'll do it again. So I'll stop this take-up wheel, and it'll immediately start to chew the tape up. So there's another tape drive system which I'll be getting to at a later time. It's got the exact same functionalities and dimensions as this one, but it doesn't have that fatal flaw. So obviously rewind, fast forward, and play. So, whoops, I just paused it instead of pressing stop. This system is easily recognized by having this metal lever here. That's how you can recognize this one. The other the other one that's also fairly common actually has a black rocker arm here that lifts up and down. And if this take-up wheel stops, it does trigger the auto stop, and therefore that one will not chew up the tape in this problem. So, here, let's see if I can do a view of the back. So this drive system uses 2 belts, which are actually quite easy. If you've got it open like this, you can replace the belts in probably a minute. It's pretty easy. This drive system actually came out of a dual system. There was another one of these right here where this empty spot is, but you can see I've just taken that one off and kept this one working like this. If you're curious as to what I'm powering this, I have power lines hooked up to the motor, and then they go around here through the alligator clips, and I'm currently just powering it with this lithium battery, so that's where it's getting its power from. Yeah, so that's just, if you have tape players that have this tape drive system, that have this lever, it's definitely something you have to watch out for. I would recommend, if it's a system you're using commonly, I would replace it with the next type that I'll be making a video about.